Guys, look at my shadow. On the ground there. I don't know why, but the way it goes back and forth, the way it jiggles, just fascinate me. Hello everyone, I'm Lost, and welcome to another episode of Weapon Spotlight. Today we're taking a look at the Cestus. Yeah, this weapon allows you to punch people in the face. And I have to be honest here, when the game first came out, I thought all fist weapons were pretty trash. I truly didn't know how to create a build around it, but once some time had gone by and I experimented a little bit, just like your dad in college, then I truly understood how awesome fist weapons can be, especially the running attack. Just look at this. This can roll catch like a bastard. Granted, if you go up against somebody with a lot, and I mean a lot of poise, it's going to be somewhat problematic, but don't worry about that. It's just so much fun using fist weapons. The moveset is pretty good. You have your standard attacks like this, although only a few of these will actually hit. The jump attacks can be pretty amazing, and if you infuse this with one of the Warcry Ashes of War, you get different attacks that are even cooler and better to use in the fights. Granted, I didn't do that today because I went with Royal Knight's Resolve. This really makes these fist weapons viable because it gives you double damage on both hits. So if you're running towards somebody and you hit them like that, you will get the bonus damage on both of those hits. Hell, if you use Royal Knight's Resolve and you simply hit once with the first hit, then you won't lose the buff. Granted, the buff doesn't last very long, but you might get a little bit of bonus damage out of it. As far as damage goes, they're not great. These being the basic fist weapons in the game, it's probably the worst one. What I chose to do here is I chose to go with a cold Cestus. We are doing about 454 damage, and we also have a frost buildup of 105. Granted, in a few invasions, you'll see me use just a standard heavy Cestus because I wanted to try it out. It wasn't amazing, so we changed it up a bit. I also chose to go with a lot of poise. Let's see, I'll put my poise talisman back off. I don't know why I chose to remove that, but with the poise talisman, we have a poise of 99, which is pretty good. I also have a very unique heavy attack, which is so awesome and so useless. You will probably never ever really land this in a fight, and you will probably never ever use this in a way where you find any utility in it. If you use this in a fight and you land it, it will feel great, but you could probably have done something else and it would have been just as good, if not better. That being said, let's get starting with the murders, shall we? And so we begin our murderous adventure with a really interesting invasion. We just invaded somebody whose name is Noticed Me Lost. I suppose this means that he's officially noticed by me. This actually reminds me of a really interesting story that happened to me years ago, and I'll tell you about that in the next invasion because we have to focus on the actual action here. I decided to create a trap, but I forget I'm still red glowing due to my talisman. Not great. Of course, he doesn't notice that, but I make another mistake. Instead of actually attacking him, I press L1 because I thought, okay, I have two weapons, so I have to press L1 for the moveset, but on paired weapons, the attacks are dual. Not great. Lucky for me, though, I drink my physic, my steroid flask, and in that I have the leadened heart tier, so I managed to tank a bunch of these things. And we jump. I really wanted to hit him there. I really wanted to get the satisfaction of a plunge attack. I didn't, and instead, I got the satisfaction of a backstab. For a moment there, I thought he was alive, but he died. Poor guy. Anyways, I told you I was going to tell you a story that happened to me a few years ago. This was when I first started making content. I was making content in Dark Souls 3, and I was invading in the untended graves when I decided just randomly to read a message on the ground. And that message read something akin to, "Oh, sanity, be gone. I know you're there, you bastard." That was really cool. I felt really famous. That was my first taste with fame, I suppose. Now, we are fighting Final Harmon here. Something weird happens. For some reason, I get this visual bug. He lost his torso. He's walking around here like he's reverse Rayman. Probably not the right thing to say. Rayman didn't have his arms, he just had his fists. He did have a torso, didn't he? He also didn't have legs, only shoes. Regardless, we're actually trading some really good hits here. I have to be careful, he has to be careful. The amount of damage that you can truly get with your fist weapons are honestly a little staggering, and they could be even worse with a different build. I almost get him here. He's so close to death. I didn't, so I try to kill him with a few fan daggers. It doesn't work, and now I'm in trouble. We've been fighting him for a while. He knows how to fight, and he switches to duel-like spears. That is perhaps the strongest combination of weapons in the game. That's because look at that. I can't roll out of the madness. I simply cannot. And because that happens, I die. I think perhaps FromSoft should change that. Maybe for madness you can roll through the status effect. And okay, we just go straight into another invasion, and I just destroy that guy. I almost feel a little bad for him. So I'm looking at his friend here, and I'm thinking, okay, it's only him and me. Let's try out some of the heavy attacks. Maybe we can figure out a good way of using these. Maybe we can lure him into a situation where the heavy attack will actually have some utility. I mean, maybe I'm simply bad, but I am not able to hit him a singular time. Instead, I now decide to switch to the running attacks, and we just immediately get a ton of damage. And also, I managed to punch away his shield, which is great, because in the back there you could see a blue lurking. But the man goes down, and I want to give that guy a GG. He must have had such a shock just seeing his friend get deleted from existence. Also, now we're fighting a woman who decides to stab herself in the belly, and that's not great, because we all know the power of seppuku. If you didn't, well, just look at that. One singular hit, and I'm almost dead. Granted, one singular hit and we do 75% of her health, so we're not exactly defenseless. That being said, look at that. Half of my health gone. Oh, that is chilling, quite frankly. So I have to be careful. I have to make sure that I don't take too much damage. And I might have been in panic mode here for just certain parts of the invasion, but luckily she's not too aggressive. When she's taking damage, she runs away, and I'm almost getting her. Luckily, this time the fan daggers do the job, and we get to kill her. GG, person, GG. I was also really confused when I started this invasion. We're invading Old Hunter Ludwig. You know, if somebody is a Bloodborne enjoyer, I have to respect them. Granted, Ludwig was a horseman, and this is a wolf. I guess we can let it go. We don't really have any horse face helmets here, do we? We have a wolf, we have a frog. The man is doing pretty good. I don't want to really heal here, because, I mean, he actually did something rather cool for me. He was waiting on top of the coffin carriage, and he's using a really cool build, and I feel like that should be rewarded. So no healing. I was hoping here that that guy would finish him off. He's so close, but then again, he's so slow at the same time. My one and only hope gone. Also, I'm a statue. Yeah. Let me know, guys, if you know of another game that can create such interesting situations as Dark Souls. God damn it, I love it. And this is Notice Me Lost again. He was actually walking through the area, and he was doing so tongued, I believe, because I invaded him quite a few times. He beat me a few times, I beat him a few times. There were a bunch of invasions that I couldn't show you guys because the audio got corrupted, unfortunately, but we had some amazing fights. Now, I am clearly on the back foot here. I should probably heal, but oh, yes, I did heal, but only because he healed first. I think he wanted the fight to last longer, so it was like, no, it's okay, man, you can heal away. And when he was showing me that, I punched him in the face. I also decided, for some reason, to put the multiple hit talisman on to see if I could get some damage out of it, because I do a lot of the running attacks. Those hit twice, so I was thinking maybe we could get some damage out of that. It didn't really work out all that well. I did beat him here, but I don't think that was really worth it. Moving along, I was actually walking for quite some time until I actually managed to find these guys. Elden Ring really need to rebalance their spawn points. I do understand you don't want the invader to spawn too close, generally, but at the same time, I was spawned all the way down by the dragon, over where you find your ancient dragon. Not tooth, but ancient dragon stone. You know, the ultimate upgrade material thing. Doesn't matter. Look, that man, for some reason, decided he wanted to heal straight in my face. And so I punish him. Granted, his friend might just end me if I run straight into the weapon art. I've used that myself a few times. And oh my god, that was so smooth of me. Look at that. I jumped into his weapon art and just smack him in the face. I'm so proud of myself, guys. Also, my god, I do really hate the rock throw. It just feels like it shouldn't be doing so much poise damage. A little poise damage, perhaps, but there is just too much of it here. I do manage to kill that phantom, though. I was hunting him for a while. I had to be a little careful, but at the very least, his friend didn't do enough damage. He would have done enough damage if he kept with Melania's blade, I think, if they were a little bit more clever about it. He changes back now, but since he's alone, that's a terrible idea. He goes in, uses the weapon art, and it costs him. By the way, speaking of interesting experiences, I was playing the Wulong demo and I was reading about it and I was watching Prod play it, and I just recently came to understand that Wulong Fallen Dynasty or Kingdom or whatever it is has invasions. Also, before we talk about that, I remember this fight. How could I possibly forget? He is using the Blood Flame Blade glitch type of thing. Right. I almost had him earlier, by the way. Almost. But I was just one hit away. It is so difficult to deal with this kind of crap, man. Granted, he's not that good. To be fair, I am not going to criticize people's skill too much, but if you're using exploits, then you're a fair target as far as I'm concerned. I get his friend, and now it's just him and me. Look at that. He's almost dead again. And then comes a blue. That blue certainly came in at the right time for our host here. So now it's me against him again. Now the blue does seem to be doing a little bit more damage than the friend. I try to get away, but the bleed catches up to me. Gotta admit, it was a little bit frustrating losing that one, but at the same time, what are you going to do? You have to get close when you're using the fist weapons, which is pretty obvious, I feel like. Now, going from one blue to the next, that guy just stopped and bowed to me because he wanted a duel. And you know what? I was like, dude, you must have balls of steel just bowing to a guy, crushing you. Or maybe he was just stupid. Our duel goes pretty well, but then all of a sudden, he gets shot. And we realize there's another invader here. The blue and I would just look at each other and like, okay, what is happening right now? I'm trying to stay away. I'm trying to be respectful here. And the blue decides I'm gonna deal with the red. And so, I guess I'll just go against the host, whose name is Shabri. He's using, you know, seppuku blades. And we end each other. And when that happens, the blue turns around and just looks at us. Christ. I will admit, I had a pretty good time using these weapons. That being said, I don't know if I can give these weapons a great invasion score because, well, they're good, don't get me wrong, but they are outclassed by all the other fist weapons some way or another. So in the end, I'll probably give these weapons a 6 out of 10. You know what? They are good, they are fun, but I don't see any reason to use these over any of the other fist weapons with the exact same moveset and more damage. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe. If you don't, I will shank you in the throat. Kisses!